Good morning to you all. At least for me, it's morning. I decided I want to show more about what I'm doing right now. So I'm building a product that is in line with stuff you see from Nathan, for example, or Make. It's just that I want to make it much more approachable for developers as well. So it's a bit more on the technical side, but it also comes with the flexibility that is required to build automations that actually make sense, in my opinion. So I have been trying to get the product live for some time now, but it's really difficult to get it live because it's a big project. I'm doing it alone, and I just want to show people what it is. Maybe even get some people to help me if they see it's open source, so it's possible to help me. But of course, then first I will have to show at least something, right? So that's what I'm gonna do now. So the name is Polysynergy, and it's a workflow automation framework. I'm tending to use the word framework more now because the way you can add your own custom nodes is much more flexible. And that makes it kind of like a developer framework for building visual automations. Well, the website, you can look at it yourself if you like. I still need to update that. And by the way, there are many things that I will still have to update. So I think I will say that more than once in this video. Anyway, so if I go to the application itself, this is just a test setup. So like I said, I'm not waiting anymore until I have this or that before I start showing it, because I can go on forever like that. So it's just as is, it's my testing setup, and it's nothing special that's going on here right now. This is where you can create and manage projects. So, for example, let's say we make a new project. You get a clean slate, so new project, click it, and then you see the editor itself. So here to the left, you can create all kinds of things like routes, schedules, blueprints, I will get into that. Services, I will also get into that. Of course, you can have secrets and environment variables, because you can create, essentially you can create as many environments as you like. So a route is what you'd expect if you are used to working with frameworks like, well, say Fast API, or more in PHP like Laravel or Symfony. You can create routes as well. Well, this is very, very similar. So let me show you just to create a simple route so you can understand what I'm getting at. This is a simple route. Just leave it at get, and then we can have a custom segment. Or say that we want to have the products overview, whatever products. I'll just give it products, and then maybe later you also want a product ID. I'm not going to do that product ID, then you can make it a variable or into a UUID variable. I'm not doing that right now because I'm just going to keep it simple, so I'm running into the least amount of issues. Creating a route, and then here we go. This is a new route. This is a mock node, so you can simulate an actual call from the user interface. And this is the actual starting point for the route. And well, say if we want to make a hello world example, when I press A, or I press this button, or I do a right mouse click, add node, I get a list of all the nodes that I can choose from. And I'm just going to make a very simple variable string node, and I give it a value, which is hello world, like this. And then I can connect the flow to here. So from here to here. And I will give it a HTTP response as well. And I will just push in the result to the body. So hello world is now the result of this node. And I give it to the body of my HTTP response. And just to be correct, by default it's on JSON, because most of the time that's probably what you want to use. But in this example, we are going to keep it as simple as we can. Clicking play. Now it's going to deploy it to a Lambda and then run it. And Lambda, like AWS Lambdas, you know. So all the flows are executed in AWS Lambdas in one mode. You can also run them strictly locally. That's up to the user. Anyway, so here we have in the body, hello world. Nice. Say that we want to make that a little bit more dynamic. Then I could configure the node to accept external values as well. So for example, I would do something like this. Hello name. Let's just get my name in there. And I say, hey, this is a name. Now, of course, I can add my name here as well, but that makes it a little bit less interesting to show. So, well, now I get an extra slot here that says, give me a name. So if I do another variable string right now, then I say, hey, Dion, attach the result to that new slot, and then I will play it again. And then if everything went all right, then we have hello Dion right there. So that is, of course, an incredibly basic example, but this essentially is the idea behind the system. So I want to give users the ability to create pretty fine-grained, endpoints in this case, if you will, that mimic endpoints that you could make in a framework when you would do it programmatically. That's how I should say it. So my aim is to give users the freedom to make full flexibility endpoints as if they were programmed. That is not to say that I think that is what you should do. This is more like, for me, that I want to have workflows that can have special fine-grained control when needed. Of course, I'm not saying you should program entire applications in this system. I think that would go too far, but you could. So, for example, what you could also do, just to show you what I mean, is that, if you want to do, variable integer, because you have a lot of very basic variable types here. Say you want to do 10, and then you copy this one, say 10 plus 10, you should be able to do that. So, add is that math, add, do this, and then I do 10, 10, hopefully this body is, it's accepting it, and then I will just connect the flow here. So the flow system works in such a way that it's going from left to right, but now it will, then when it's at the plus node, it will notice that it has one more incoming node. So it will first go back, execute this node, and then it has both values available to go to the body. So if I do a plus now, then we should be able to see 20. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but essentially that is how the node system works. Well, let's also then try something else, and that is say that a value is larger than, so let's say larger than, so you have those type of if blocks as well. So 20, so I say that 20 is larger than 30, which is not, of course, then it should go to, so it should choose one of those two responses in that case. So let's see. Let's say that this is no, and this is yes. Let's see. So I'm expecting it to go there. And it did, so it's not larger. Now you can also expect what happened. So for example, well, this is a little bit, so this I should make more refined in this case. So this is actually called error right now. It's not an error. In many cases, in many nodes, it is an error when it goes to false path, not in this case. So those are the small things that I still want to fix, well, we'll get to that. It's not that important. There are bigger issues to tackle right now, but it's not finished. It's more in alpha state. It's not even beta, I would say. It's like the end of alpha. All right, so that would be routes. Say that we want to publish such a route, so it's available, well, outside of the system. Then I would go to publish now. I only have a mock stage right now. I can make many stages, but I will just leave it at mock for now. And then we have this route here, and then I say, hey, publish this route. And now it should be available online. So if I go to info here, because I'm on this route, I can see what the route URL is. Then I go here, and then hopefully, okay, something went wrong. I'm not going to investigate that now. It's a little strange though, I didn't expect that. Non-type object is not scriptable. We'll figure it out. Anyway, maybe if I make it a bit more simple. Oh, no, not unpublish it. I unpublished it, which is not what I intended to do. Let's make it a bit more simple so I'm able to demonstrate it. Variable. Let's go back to the hello world example. Variable string hello world. So just reconnect them. Set this to the body. See if it runs. It's redeploying it, and it ran, so I hope, well, some issue happened here. Well, you're seeing the whole thing. Right, okay, so that worked. Nice. Okay, let's go back to this, this stuff here. So just to make the example complete, here is schedules. You can have schedules as well, which simply means call this every 20 minutes, and then you would do /20 here every 20 minutes between, I don't know, is that correct? I guess. And then we have create schedule, and now we have something that is called every 20 minutes, right? So this is will trigger a flow every 20 minutes. I will go to my test project now just to show you a little bit more about the agentic features that it has as well. I'm doing a lot of testing in my my blueprints system. So blueprints are simply to make it to build components that can be reused, right? So you just build a blueprint, and then you can use them in routes, for example, or in schedules. So you can much more easily reuse those components. This has all been testing for example, what if you want to build a whole team of agents? So you have I use the Agno framework, by the way, for the agentic features that I'm integrating. That's still very much work in progress, but this is a team agent, and this is a Agno agent, and you can just, then you can connect. That's a little bit too easy to disconnect it. So if you click it, it disconnects. But if you accidentally click it, then it's gone. So fix that as well. This here is just a free team agent. This one doesn't run now because I made a lot of changes to the agents in the meantime. But you can set up a whole team that has particular access to all kinds of very specific requirements. So I'm testing the knowledge system here. So, for example, if you want to be able to give specific knowledge to an agent, then first of all you need to be vectorizing this data, and then put it in a vector database. and give the agent access to the vector database so it can search through the specific data. I've been doing that here by testing this with some recipes. So I have some food in the file manager. By the way, this is the file manager. You can upload custom PDF files or whatever type of file that you can then use in your flow. So for here I have a file selection. Wait, let me just demonstrate how that is supposed to work. So I have a file selection node, and now I've selected it, and this thing here changes. So I just select two files here, assign them to the file selection node, and then it has two records there. And then this is a play node, so you can just click play and then it will start whatever it finds after it. So I make sure that it touches the files, and then I will bring the files here. And now this node here, which is a PDF URL knowledge base node, has those two URLs of those PDFs, and then it can simply read the PDFs and then attach them to the knowledge base node, which is about, oh, this is the load. Yes, so this is the knowledge base, and this will actually load it. And then I attach them to two HTTP response nodes, which in the case of a blueprint doesn't necessarily make sense, to be honest, but I did that anyway. And then here I have, what is this? Oh, yes. So this is Qdrant. I'm using Qdrant in this case. Qdrant needs an embedder. So in this case, I gave it an OpenAI embedder, attached it to the embedder that the Qdrant system requires through the ACNO setup, the ACNO architecture, I should say. And then here, the embedder, and then we have, the knowledge base that will need the vector database. And we need the load, yes, then it will load, and then it will be available. And here I'm giving it the storage. Somebody is talking outside. Well, that's okay. Then we give it, let's see. Oh, no. This is something else. This is about storage. This is making sure that the agent, the chat agent, has history. But here I am giving it knowledge. So we have a lot of settings, and settings accept, specific settings. So specific for knowledge in this case. So I just attach this knowledge settings node to the knowledge input here. And then I have a knowledge reader. Yeah, so this thing gives the knowledge to the agent. And then we need the VectorDB instance again, because that contains the specific information. And we need the OpenAI embedder as well, because eventually if you ask this node something, it will also embed or make embeddings from the question itself. And with those embeddings, the Qdrant database is queried. So let's see if that kind of works. So here, because I have a prompt node here, this chat window comes up automatically. Those are the logs. So if I run this system, then it will simply output whatever logs that it produces. Let's see if I can ask it a specific question. So I don't know, Thai recipes. Can we ask something? Maybe we should ask, do we have a recipe with fried noodles? We can try. Hopefully it will give the right answer. Do we have a recipe with fried noodles? So do we have a recipe with fried noodles? And now it's deploying, so the runner image for Docker is getting pretty big, but that's okay. But because it gets bigger, the warm-up time also goes up. That's a bit of a shame. So what is it? Pad Thai Goong salt. Is that what we saw? I don't remember. But yeah, so, okay, great. So it actually uses the knowledge and then comes with an answer that makes sense. And then, by the way, it also shows you the references. I believe it's always giving me 5 references because of the default settings that I'm using. Yeah, I noticed a bug here as well, by the way. So the storage system somehow is storing the results that I'm getting several times. No idea why, but in the case of DynamoDB, that's a problem because there's not much storage there. So I will be fixing that as well. Well, this is this is a very, very quick and short demo of the current state that I'm in. Let me just show you a little bit more details about where I'm getting at. So first of all, what I'm aiming at is that you can add your own nodes as simple as possible. So let me just show you how nodes work right now. We have, this is one of the packages. This is the, this local environment, which is not great. I'm going to cut that out. And then, let's see. So we have nodes. This is a text extraction node. It's way too difficult. I'm not going to show you that. So this is the default node package. And for the default node package, that's just providing all the, relatively basic nodes that I think you should have. So we have the logic nodes, we have the mathematics nodes, we have the OCR nodes, which is this one. I've been changing the OCR node because it was using immensely big packages. I don't want that. We have some PDF nodes, all that, everything you can think about. So let's go to a simple one. This would be a variable float node. What that simply means is that we have a decorator here, and you can give it a name and a category and a version. And then you have the variable float. So we have a value and we give it a float type. And then node variable settings and so on. The execute in this case is just returning the self value. That doesn't make a lot of sense, by the way, but I'm not getting into such details right now. I will do that later. This is just about showing generically where I'm at and what I'm trying to do. But this is a variable string node. And then if you look at those properties here, then you can see that they are directly in line with what is here. So if I go to variable string, and then we have the value here, and this is values, which is a dictionary, and this is a string, and then we have result and we have error. So if I go back here, then we have a value, and then we have, so that is this one, and we have values, and this here is the true path and the false path. So true path means this went well, false path means this did not go well. And here you see result error and value. So that's how all nodes work essentially. So all of the nodes essentially take those properties that are coming from the outside, or you give them something to bring to the other side, to continue with. Most of the time you continue with this, but not necessarily. And then we have the execute function. All of them have the execute function. And then you can use those properties to do whatever is relevant for the node that you are trying to build. Simple as that. Yes, so you can, that would be one way to add nodes. You simply build your own node package, add them to the environment where the system can find them, and there you have your own nodes. That's pretty easy. You can also add your own nodes by combining nodes. So we have blueprints here, but we can also have services. Let me first show you what would be a service, something with a HTTP request that is calling some outside API. So I make a fake setup here. Let's say that we have a HTTP request. Then we go to the variables here, and then I say HTTPS something.com, and then we have API v1 products, whatever. And then we can give it headers, particular headers, maybe some authorization header. So we would go here, and then we say, hey, this is the authorization. It's usually with a capital authorization. We give it in, so this value there can come from the outside. And then we would say something like, hey, I have a particular token for that. That would come from a secret, by the way. So let's say we have a token. Then we could do something like this. So secret, if it's in the secrets, and then we can say, hey, this is a secret. It's all fake right now, but you get the point. So then we could, why do I do it in values? Because I first want to combine it into bearer, right? So bearer would be usually something that is part of your authorization header. So push it here. And then, some kind of response would come from that system. But then, well, what I'm trying to say is that this whole setup could be relatively complex. It could exist of 2 nodes. It could exist of 100 nodes. It doesn't really matter, because then I would just group it like this. And then the grouped node, I can say, for example, hey, I want, when a node starts, I want it to start here. And then I want to output the success response. What I also want, because now this is a custom API call to your super system. Oh, I cannot type anymore. Custom API call to your super system. Now you have those 2 inputs and output. That doesn't say much because it lost the context to the original node that it came from, right? So you can give it something here like, I don't know, this is not logical. So this is not a really logical setup in practice, but let's say that this is the API response, for example, right? So you can give it much more context to the new node for the new node you are creating. And then we close this and we have a new node. So this is a group now. So this is not very reusable. I can of course copy it as many times as I want, but you can also make it into, oh, something went wrong here. You can also make it into a service. So if I select this node, then make it into a service, and I say some service, then with a description and whatever example category, and then the SVG, then I will I don't know, I will just give it a clock. Right, so we have a clock now, and we have created a service. This service will be available to reuse as many times as you want. There are many nuances to this. If you want to, for example, have particular variable values that are different per service instance, that's also taken care of, but outside of the scope of what I want to show right now. Anyway, so there's something wrong with the reloading of the service. Let's see if it's, somehow it's not storing them properly. I have to check that as well. Anyway, I think I will leave it at this for now. I think I kind of shown what I'm doing. I still have a lot to do. I am opening up a alpha test test phase, if you will. I'm going to deploy this current state as it is right now, and then just focus on fixing particular issues, because I don't want those small annoying bugs to be part of the system anymore. But if you want to help me test this, then I would be really happy to allow you in. I have about 10 test users now and 4 companies that want to try something with me, just see if this works for them. But I can still use people that want to test and help, or maybe even make changes to the code base, the code base eventually will be intended to use locally. So let me just show you this repository, which is the main repository. The system exists of several different subsystems, if you will. But this right now still depends on some cloud dependencies. So for example, DynamoDB is in my AWS account. I want to make that local. It also has a Cognito authentication system in front of it. I want to ditch that as a whole for the local setup. But you know, all in all, I'm not really there yet. I'm still working on it as hard as I can. Hopefully, I did give everybody a bit of a insight into what I'm trying to do. And yeah, thank you for watching. It's been really it's been a real interesting journey to build this thing. It's been an extremely big amount of work, and I'm still enjoying it, and I want to continue. So, well, any help would be great. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, because I will be updating more in the future, and also getting into much more details that I did today. So please subscribe if you want to be updated. And also it would be very helpful if you give this video a like, because then it's you know, easier to get the visibility up. So thank you very much, and see you next time.